Every semester starts exactly the same way: a sudden surge in lab popularity, booking conflicts overlapping across your schedule, and late nights spent prepping for the inevitable mad dash of final simulations. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can build a completely free, self-regulating schedule that resolves conflicts automatically and puts your physical prep on autopilot. To get there, you only need three things: a standard Google account, a defined list of room capabilities, and backing from your leadership. By making the shift from constantly reacting to problems to proactively building a system, you protect your time and guarantee your lab meets healthcare simulation standards every single week. Step 1 is moving your entire operation to the cloud. Google Calendar will serve as the master control center for this new system. The most common mistake is piling every event onto a single schedule. Instead, you need to create an individual, distinct calendar for every single simulation room and practice space in your facility. Assign a distinct color to each room's schedule. Sliding them into one master view lets you immediately identify what's available. To stop overlapping chaos, build in mandatory buffer times, physically blocking out space before and after every reservation for setup and teardown. Now we address access. We all know the blind request loop: faculty constantly emailing or dropping by to ask if a specific date is open. Eliminate that loop entirely. Generate a view-only shareable link for your master calendar and distribute it to your faculty so they can check availability themselves before they even approach you. But do not make yourself the single point of failure. If you are out of the office, the system still needs to run. Grant full administrator rights to exactly one backup colleague who can step in if needed. Giving your team absolute schedule visibility while locking down edit permissions empowers them to plan ahead while completely protecting the integrity of your calendar. With the calendar built, we need a way to fill it. Ad hoc verbal requests and quick emails are out. Every single reservation must go through a mandatory written intake funnel. Set up a digital request form to capture specific details. Most importantly, force the requester to declare the room capabilities they actually need. This stops a small group of learners from hoarding your largest, highest-tech simulation space. Next, set a strict deadline and stick to it. Require all requests to be submitted at least 2 weeks prior to the event to prevent impossible last-minute elaborate setups. Even with a deadline, you will get multiple requests for the same time slot. To resolve this, you need a prioritization matrix, a predetermined rule set for how space is awarded. Your hierarchy filters from top to bottom. Interdisciplinary sims take highest priority, then single discipline, external sims, skills practice, sim meetings, and finally, standard lectures. Backed by leadership, this matrix automatically filters out debate. When pushback happens, the rules decide without emotion. Over time, you can review these completed forms to track your historical usage. You'll quickly see patterns, like open practice labs having high use early on, then tapering off, freeing up space later. A written funnel and a rigid matrix takes you out of the role of an arbitrary gatekeeper, turning you into an objective, frictionless facilitator. So the digital planning is solved. Now we have to execute this physically inside the lab. Constantly hunting down the same props and resetting complex supplies for recurring events is a massive drain on your hours. You can eliminate this step by building reusable supply totes. These are dedicated bins that hold every single wig, silicone wound, and specific prop required for a recurring scenario. For each scenario, like your standard Week 7 patient Mrs. Smith, pack the tote and physically attach a laminated setup checklist to the top. On the reverse side of that list, include exact teardown instructions. Spell out how to repackage the reusable items and safely dispose of sharps. These physical totes connect directly back to your calendar. When a mandatory setup block approaches, the exact tote you need is already packed and waiting. Standardizing your physical materials means that if you are away, a student lab assistant or backup admin can flawlessly execute a complex room turnaround without you lifting a finger. You now have a fully connected loop. A mandatory 2-week digital request feeds directly into a view-only color-coded schedule, which then triggers the deployment of your standardized physical prep totes. The old reality of scrambling for rooms and staying late to gather supplies is replaced by a predictable workflow that simply runs in the background. To get started immediately, you can download the free request form templates from the provided links and begin mapping out your new calendar today. This system effectively safeguards your schedule, ensuring that your energy is spent on instruction and learner outcomes rather than logistical troubleshooting.